Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Sports Talk Trio. I'm Drew Pieschalski, joined by Sawyer Goldwein and Geno DeFrank. Today is a normal episode, so we'll get back to college football, NFL, NBA, all the main sports. So we'll get right into a college football recap of this past Saturday. One of the big games this week was that Clemson held off a ranked Notre Dame in Death Valley. For me, looking at this game, Clemson really needed a win over a good Notre Dame game, and with Will Shipley out, Phil Maffa, Clemson's running back, was showed out and rushed for like 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Clemson definitely has to hit the transfer portal this offseason to actually get some guys because they're 5-4 right now. So they should be able to get back where they were, but it's going to take a little bit.
Yeah, for me, besides Phil Maffa, I think the story of this game was Sam Hartman. He really struggled. He was 13 for 30, a couple of picks. He was good on the ground. He rushed for a touchdown. But other than that, it was a really rough performance for him on the road against what shouldn't be that great of a team, but they made him look good. He kind of got outdueled by Cade Klubnik, who also has been pretty underwhelming this season. So that's something to look out for Notre Dame.
As Dabo said, buy the stock now. Buy the stock. So buy stock in Clemson. It's going to be a hard game in Death Valley. I didn't really like Notre Dame's odds. Clearly, Vegas didn't either because I'm pretty sure the line was like 3.5. So it was going to be a hard game either way.
Now looking at a Heisman QB showdown, Caleb Williams, who won it last year, and Michael Penix, probably the front runner this year. Washington defeated USC 52-42 in just a regular Pac-12 game. This was a great game. It was kind of just back and forth at first, but Washington pulled away in the end. You got to feel for Caleb Williams because you saw that video of him crying to his mom after the game or something, and he's just in an awful situation. He's got so much talent. He's just on a terrible team, so got to feel for him, but he's still very talented.
Yeah, speaking of awful situation, USC's in a 6-game stretch now, starting with their game against Colorado, where they haven't given up less than 34 points, which is wild. The USC's offense has scored 40-plus in 4 out of those 6 games. So it's pretty obvious that the defense is letting Caleb Williams down, Caleb Williams and the offense. But the other star for this game, I would say, was Dylan Johnson, Washington's running back. He was crazy. He had 26 carries, 256 yards, 4 touchdowns, which is pretty wild. But I just think USC's got to change something. They did this week, which they did fire their defensive coordinator. Hopefully that'll kind of turn things around for them. But for now, you do just have to feel for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I was just going to mention what you said, 316 total yards on the ground. I think the problem for the USC defense is Washington was 7 for 10 on 3rd down, 1 for 1 on 4th down, 3 punts in this game. But yeah, just their 3rd down defense got to get better. They were also on the field. Their defense was on the field for 10 more minutes in the game, which is not a recipe to win.
Now we're going to look at Oklahoma State took down Oklahoma in Stillwater in one of the last battles of Bedlam since obviously Oklahoma's moving to the SEC. This game was close all the way, but I mean, Oklahoma State is just, I don't know, they're always a solid team every year. They looked pretty good out there, honestly. That their running back's name is Ali. He's a beast. So Oklahoma kind of just fell off after that at the end of the season with back-to-back losses to Kansas and Oklahoma State, but watch out for Oklahoma State maybe getting in, somehow sneaking in a Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Football aside here, I'm just glad Oklahoma State won. It kind of felt like, Oklahoma was one of the first teams in this recent wave of realignment to leave, or to plan to leave. So to me, it felt like
You get what's coming for you.
Oklahoma State deserved to win. Oklahoma kind of snaked everyone. So I'm just glad they won. They kind of get that forever bragging rights, winning the last fully Big 12 Bedlam.
Yeah, we predict this one. I didn't think this was a hard pick at all. You got to go in Stillwater, tough place to play. I was kind of mad it wasn't a night game. I don't know if someone saw the stat, but Fox picked to have the Kansas State-Texas game over this game. They had like the choice because they own Big 12 rights.
Yeah.
So this game ended up on ABC and ended up with 1 more million views. So Fox missed out on that. Don't know why I'm mentioning it, but I saw it on Twitter the other day. Thought it was kind of interesting. Fox stopped supporting Texas and support a good rivalry. And this will hopefully be refilled. Probably will take like 4 years due to scheduling, made out. But Oklahoma State, defense held up on the last drive of the game and got the dub. Oklahoma shot. Their shot now is completely gone in the
Yeah.
college football playoff. So it was good to see. I'm glad Oklahoma State won that one. Go Cowboys.
Staying in the Big 12, looking at Texas, they held off Kansas State overtime with a 33-30 win. Texas was up 17-0 at first, and Kansas State made an amazing comeback. But in overtime, Texas got a field goal, went up 33-30. Kansas State had the ball in the 5. It was 4th and goal, and they decided to go for it. They brought out like one of the worst plays I've ever seen. Will Howard just got sacked for like 10 yards. Just kick the ball. Like, it's easy points. I understand you're trying to win. You're probably going to try and get back-to-back Big 12 championships, but that was just idiotic.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. I hate the play call. That sucked. But I feel like when you're the worst team, you kind of like you want to end the game quickly.
Yeah,
because the longer you play, the more likely it is that you're gonna get outplayed. Yeah. So I don't mind going for the win there. My big takeaway from this was Malik Murphy looked pretty rough. Obviously, Quinn Ewers hopefully will be back soon for Texas, but until then, they're going to be a little shaky, maybe a little vulnerable. The only thing he could really do right was get the ball to Adonai Mitchell. That was pretty much his only reliable target, but he looked like he was struggling out there.
Yeah, this game was pretty rough, honestly. I thought it was kind of scrappy. Teams were combined 4 for 19 on third downs. Kansas State rushed for only 33 yards. That was pretty bold. They made a little bit of comeback at the end, as Sawyer was saying. You got to go for the win as you can. When you're trying to make the upset, you got to take some risks, and obviously it didn't work out.
And now looking at a big SEC battle last week, Georgia got a quality win over Missouri. This game started off hot with a Missouri touchdown. He threw a touchdown to Luther Burden, and then it was kind of just back and forth, throwing shots at each other, Georgia and Missouri. But in the fourth quarter, Georgia pulled away. Got a pick to seal it on Missouri when Missouri tried to make a final drive to win the game or make it close. But after looking at this, I feel like Georgia probably is the number 1 team in the country. They're pretty unstoppable based on what I saw. Even without Brock Bowers, they didn't have that much trouble with Missouri.
Yeah, Carson Beck's a frustratingly good game manager. I was kind of hoping going into this season that he would be bad and that Georgia would kind of finally fall off, even though they have all those weapons. But he's pretty much just doing the same thing Stetson Bennett did. And that's all Georgia really needs from them. They can just keep getting these kind of game manager quarterback recruits and stick them in there with all the other talent, and they'll look good.
Yeah, in this one, if you look at the stats, I kid you not, they are basically identical. First downs are the same, third down efficiency, total plays, punts, everything's the same. And when you have yards are almost the same, difference of like 12 yards, when it's that neck and neck, I think that's really when experience and coaching comes down with Kirby Smart. It's going to win those games where the coach matters the most in this one. I think that's why Georgia pulled this one out.
Now looking at 2 of the top 4 teams last week, Ohio State and Florida State both struggled early on. Ohio State struggled with Rutgers as they were down 9-7 at half, but they eventually pulled away in the second half as Travion Henderson went off. But looking at that game, I think Rutgers is an underrated team, but I think Ohio State just needs to – I don't know what's going on with Ohio State, honestly, but that was just a rough game in the first half, but they pulled away in the second. And then looking at Florida State, I don't really know what's going on with them either. Their offense can be a little shaky sometimes, and their defense is a little maybe overrated. But, I mean, 2 teams that ended up winning by still decent margins, and they stayed in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't think Ohio State really has any excuse there. They just got to play better in the first half. For Florida State, no Keon Coleman or Johnny Wilson. That's going to be a little bit of a burden for Jordan Travis to keep running that offense. But I do think we're not talking enough about Florida State struggling to win. They've had a few games this season, whether it's Pitt, whether it's Boston College, whether it's Duke. Like they've struggled against teams that they probably could and should beat more comfortably. So it kind of feels like it should only be a matter of time until they lose, but we don't have that much time left in the season.
I think Florida State. I don't know the name of their defensive back who stripped that Pitt guy on the 1-yard line. But if that doesn't happen, they're looking at possibly being down 14-0. Obviously, Florida State did not look well. Pitt is I'll admit, terrible. There was no reason for us to be in that game, but we were kind of staying strong. I'm going to agree with kind of Drew. I think Rutgers is a little bit underrated, but there is no excuse for Ohio State to be losing at half.
That's fair. And then we're going to look at the ACC, staying in the ACC with FSU. I don't know why this question's in here because I don't think this will happen, but if Louisville wins out, do they make the college football playoff? I say no. They do need a lot to happen. They need to win the ACC championship. They have their loss is bad, though. Their loss is really bad. A 17-point loss to a Pitt team with, 2 wins?
On the road.
On the road. But, I mean, that's a bad loss. They're going to have to do – a lot is going to have to happen, but I don't think that will happen, unfortunately, for Louisville.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like you said, Pitt's a really bad loss. And then when you look at their wins, their best win is Notre Dame, which is obviously a solid one.
At Notre Dame.
At Notre Dame is solid.
And by 2 scores.
No, it was in Louisville.
Okay, not at Notre Dame. So, less solid. But also Notre Dame losing to Clemson this week doesn't help. But then the other key there is after Notre Dame, their best win is probably home against Duke with a backup quarterback, which is not great. And then looking at the rest of their schedule, they got UVA, Miami, and Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami and Kentucky, not bad teams. UVA is terrible. But Miami and Kentucky, not bad, but not great resume boosters either. So they kind of have to make it with the resume they have, and I don't see that happening.
I think if they beat an undefeated Florida State team, so that will knock out Florida State, you're going to need... The Big Ten's very interesting. I don't know what would have to happen. I feel like...
What's their ranking right now?
I feel like Penn State would have to beat Michigan, and then Michigan beat Ohio State, and then whatever team... I don't know how tiebreaker points would work, but whatever team makes Big Ten championship then wins that game. So that's one. You have... I think if Washington slips up, I don't think they give it to them. I think if they slip up in their conference championship to like a Utah 2-loss team, I think the Pac-12 gets thrown out.
I can see that.
Big 12's holding on the thread right now of Texas, of one team that's only one. They only have 1 loss, I believe. That's the only team in that conference. And then SEC, I think if Bama finishes the year good with only 1 loss, I think they sneak in. I think it might come down to Bama and Louisville. If all that happens, you're looking at they're going to be kind of fighting for teams. You're either going to take Washington, who might not win their conference championship, or a Bama team who 1-loss team but doesn't make the conference championship. It will be interesting. That's a conversation probably for the week of. I think. But if they get there and they beat Florida State, and I think maybe 2 things happen, I think they could see themselves there.
I think they could get in a New Year's 6. I think just
a New Year's 6. They're gonna get in a New Year's 6. So as long as they don't shit the bed.
I mean, they could lose to UVA. You never know.
I know.
Yeah, that game, big Thursday night game.
Hey, don't sleep on those ACC
Better
Thursday nights.
Night game than the Panthers.
They're bringing out their Louisville's bringing out their glow jerseys.
Oh, I saw that, but that makes no sense because the lights are on.
Yeah. Moving on to one of the biggest stories in college football right now, Michigan is facing a lot of scrutiny. Should Michigan? Do we think Michigan should face penalties, or should it be Harbaugh or the whole team? In my opinion, they're not going to be penalized this year just because it's the middle of the season. But in the offseason, there should be circumstances. I think this just might cause Harbaugh to resign because of how bad this is looking for him. I mean, this is not the first time this year because he's already suspended at the beginning of the year because of recruiting in the dead period. But him having to send a guy who wrote a Michigan manifesto to games to scout out other opponents' signs is pretty ridiculous. But for me, as an Ohio State fan, it would be pretty cool to see a college football playoff ban, just knowing that they couldn't make it for like 3 years straight. That'd be just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say Harbaugh gets like 6+ games at least. I'm trying not to be too harsh because I know I'm biased, but I would say 6 games is probably more than fair for that, and he does probably resign if that happens. And then up until yesterday, I was thinking potentially no playoff ban. But I saw something on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw the Blake Corum connection, but he apparently owns a business with Connor Stallions. Their names are both on the LLC, and he put like the abbreviation of the LLC in one of his Instagram captions. Then when he was asked about it, he was like, "I have no connection with that guy. I don't know what you guys are talking about." my attorney's handling it.
Yeah.
Which obviously looks bad, especially considering how many people at Michigan are just like, hey, I don't know what's going on. It's not looking like they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm saying maybe playoff ban for a year, and then if they did cheat, I feel like you kind of have to vacate those wins.
Is your ban this year or next year?
Next year. I did see, supposedly we could get a ruling as soon as the day we're recording this.
Yeah.
But I would assume it would be for next year.
Yeah. I was watching First Take the other day and listening to Stephen A. kind of go off on this. He thinks the playoff ban should go in right now, and I think everyone can agree Harbaugh deserves 6 games or a whole season. Honestly, at this point,
Harbaugh's probably done there.
I do struggle with a point of trying to blame the kids. Do they really know? Of course, they kind of know because they get told, but they had nothing in part of trying to do this. So I think that's a tough situation. I don't know what they're gonna do because obviously, if they do find more real evidence that these wins are gonna get vacated, and do you really want a national championship getting stripped from a team? I think at this point, if Michigan continues to surge on and end up in the playoff.
Now we're gonna move on today to Sunday, but the NFL recap. We'll start with the Thursday night game last week. The Steelers held off the Titans in a pretty close game. Is George Pickens' attitude or an ego becoming a problem for Pittsburgh? Obviously, there was that situation where he should have caught a touchdown pass, but he could not get another foot in with about 3 feet of room or something.
He had plenty of room.
Yeah, but I think his attitude's fine. Like I was talking about it with you this week. You said you dealt with AB, so I think that's he's not as bad as AB, but we'll be fine. I think there's something wrong because Pickett's kind of trash, so I don't know if he likes that connection, but we'll see what happens in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was interesting to see the morning after he took down all Steeler posts from his Instagram, and he was then asked about it, and he made a comment saying, "My social media and my work life are 2 separate things. They don't cross lines."
He also put "free me" on his Instagram.
Yeah, it was in the bottom right corner, very small font. No one saw it, but I thought it was funny. AB tweeted yesterday, and it was like a picture. It said George Pickens morphing into Antonio Brown, and he had half AB, half this is AB who posted. I thought it was hilarious, but I think we'll be able to handle Pickens. Obviously, it was really frustrating to see Deontay's touchdown and Pickens turn around and just walk towards the sideline and shake his head. Yeah, it was really frustrating, but I think stuff will pick up. I do think he has a right to kind of be complaining right now. He's not getting the targets that this guy should be getting, but when he misses a wide open touchdown that he did, I don't think he has any right to complain from that game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd say there's 2 things. First of all, like you said, there's no right to complain when you're missing stuff like that. I think he needs to kind of go back and work on the fundamentals a little bit instead of just trying to be as much of a menace as possible and shoving dudes at the line and then not getting 2 feet in.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But then also, you dealt with AB, but that didn't end well. So,
hey, 7 years kept him intact.
7 years kept him intact, but he only went off the rails in year 5.
Yeah.
So if that dude had CTE and you couldn't keep him under control, Pickens doesn't even have CTE and he's still going insane.
All right.
So I don't know if you can handle him.
Yeah. A little off topic of the script of what we were going to run down, but what's your guys' take on Martavis Bryant as soon as he's reinstated in the league, getting on to the Cowboys? What do you guys think about that?
Well, first of all, I love that Shams was the one that broke the news. That was cool. Shams breaking news of a dude who hasn't played since 2018 signing was bizarre, but I think it's just he's been balling in all these random football leagues.
I know, yeah.
Why not give him one more chance? He went to the Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
That's a very Jerry Jones move.
Pretty, yeah.
I think he could be an X factor, honestly. He's a 6'4" athletic freak.
Remember, that's what people said about Des Bryant and going to Baltimore, and he did absolutely nothing there.
This guy is different. I think he still may have it.
I think
it's weird to say that.
There's a good chance that he does end up like Baltimore does, but I think it's worth a shot. I mean,
Dallas. I don't see why not.
Dallas is a solid team, but if they happen to add a guy who randomly steps in and makes an impact, then they could definitely use him.
staying off the script for a second, I've seen a lot of news about the Browns re-signing Josh Gordon. Ohio has legalized weed or marijuana for adults now. Adults are just able to use it. So that means Josh Gordon would have no problem playing in Cleveland without any drug tests. So just had to point that out.
Bring him back.
Yeah, he actually said in his Threads account that, like, yesterday, he's like, damn Ohio, you really had to wait this long?
I would honestly be down to see him come
that'd
back.
be cool.
I mean, he probably doesn't still have... I mean, he's been playing, though. Like, he played in the XFL this past season, so he's probably not NFL caliber anymore, but I think it would be worth a shot, especially since he drifts straight into Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah. Looking at the really big game this week, the Chiefs held off the Dolphins. Dolphins' offense struggled completely in this game. I have a question to pose to you guys. Should we worry about Dolphins in big games like this? They're a very young team, and do you think they're built for like a super big game like this? Because obviously they're going to be making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously.
Yeah, it seems
obviously.
like it.
They're gonna make the playoffs.
Dude, you're looking at the Bills right now are 5-3 and not in the playoffs, or they're 5-4.
5-4.
5-4,
have
and
2
they're
losses or 3.
3. They're 5-0 against sub 500 and 0-3 against plus 500 teams. I don't think they're a lock for the playoffs. I do think they're a regular season team. I don't think they're ready to take that step to win the big game right now. I just think their experience is not there.
I don't know. I mean, clearly there's something to worry about there. Because like you said, they've been so much better against these bad teams.
It's like the Cowboys of the AFC we're looking at right now.
The thing is, I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah.
Because
it's not Mike McDaniel.
I don't think it's Mike McDaniel.
It might be. I think it's Tua. I don't think Tua's that good.
I don't think Tua's as good as people make him out to be, but I don't think he's
sole reason.
I don't think he's this guy that like can't perform against good teams. I think he plays to his competition for the most part, but I mean they got great receivers. Their pass game is good, so it's not like they just fall behind against these good teams and they have no way to come back. I really can't explain it, but right now there's no reason for us not to be worried.
Yeah. I actually saw a video on the last play of the game for the Dolphins. They fumbled the snap, and Jalen Waddle would have been wide open on like a seam up the field.
I don't even think it was fumble the snap. The center
snapped
it like diagonal.
Yeah.
It was unless Tua was not lined up behind the center.
He's not that stupid.
Wide to his right, and that was just that was a terrible ending to the game.
Probably could have had a touchdown.
So
yeah, would have been nice if we could have watched, but that's besides the point.
We were enjoying some volleyball.
Yeah. Moving on to big rookie performance this week. The Texans played the Buccaneers and won on the final drive of the game. So C.J. Stroud had a very legendary performance. I think he set the passing yards record for the rookie in the game. I think he's the offensive rookie of the year, and there's no question about that. He may have broken the Ohio State QB curse. It might be too early to say that, but hey, we'll see. He's a beast out there, but I think he's the offensive rookie of the year.
I don't want to bring this up, but maybe the key is losing to Michigan.
Yeah.
Maybe you just gotta lose to Michigan, you'll be good in the league.
Maybe.
But, yeah, I mean, you brought this up the other day, but you were saying maybe he deserves MVP votes, and the more I'm thinking about it, the more I don't hate that.
I mean, who can compete? Mahomes isn't having his best season.
MVP votes? Where are we going?
Okay, what's your argument? Who should
What's
win?
my argument?
Who should win MVP right now?
No. But look at his record. You can't have someone
win
MVP
cast,
with a sub 500 record.
They're not
his team sucks.
Sub 500 record.
If the rest of the roster
Can you
sucks.
speak over sub 500?
He's
record?
4-4.
Yeah,
he's not sub
What's the
500.
they're 4-4.
They're about to be. Well, they got the Cardinals, right? That's
Exactly. They're about to be above 500.
They got the text. They got the.
I admit,
actually.
I agree with what you're saying about no one's really had an MVP caliber season so far. I think that's a very good take. I still think CMC could win it. I know we're probably not going to give it to a running back.
I think he should be up for it, but I'm not saying he should win. I'm saying he should be up for nomination right now. He's thrown 1 pick this year.
All right, good for him, bud. I haven't thrown a pick in my life.
I think you're mad about Kenny Pickett's stats.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he has more picks and touchdowns is not a great thing.
Hey,
CJ Stroud already has more career touchdowns than Kenny
I have
Pickett.
1 attempted pass and it is completed. So, talk to me when you have
against
one.
a bunch of high schoolers.
Dude, team was solid.
CJ Stroud would dice him up though.
So we're gonna move on to.
Did he throw for 500 yards? Was it?
Like
It was like
540.
Was it over 500?
I think so.
6 touchdowns. 470.
Yeah.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. Solid performance.
That's pretty solid.
Solid performance.
Pretty
by the way.
What more can you do to make it not more than pretty solid?
We're now going to get into why the AFC North is just on top. Ravens rout the Seahawks. I believe the final was 34-3.
Something like that. It was wild.
Did someone pick the Seahawks? Please tell me someone
No, we
did.
all picked the Ravens.
All right, good. This Geno Smith wasn't going to get ready for this one. Fun fact, Geno, little interception. Geno Smith threw the pick to Geno Stone, who is a Pittsburgh native, who also actually leads the league in interceptions. I believe he has 7 interceptions, I believe. I will get back to you on that. But he leads the league. I know that.
Yeah, the Ravens are also literally insane. Again, I said it before. I think they're my pick to come out of the AFC. They have one of the best defenses of the league, high-powered offense. And I don't know. They have an interesting slate of games coming up for them as well. They face the Browns this week, which might be an easy win for them, or maybe a pretty competitive game. We'll see. But I think the Ravens are easily just one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to have them as my Super Bowl team yet until I see them do something in the playoffs, but I think it's pretty safe to say right now that they're the best team, at least in the AFC, if not the league.
I think we're sadly getting to that point where injuries are going to start happening for the Ravens. It's a yearly thing.
Well, they
already lost their starting running back, too.
Yeah. I just think they could be hit worse than... Not hopefully, but it is that time of year. So
we're getting there.
Following with what Sawyer predicted last week, Josh McDaniels was fired, and the Raiders win with Antonio Pierce. As Devontae Adams said after one day, he was already ready to run through a brick wall for this guy. They dominated in their game. Wasn't even close. They looked really good. Beat up on a Giants team who obviously they should win anyways. But it looked like there was energy back in that locker room. I don't want to. We can clothesline this if we don't want to, but the Max Crosby
The
video before the game was pretty interesting if you saw it. I think he's just maybe got that authority. I don't know. We're going to pass on that. I don't know why I mentioned it. It was just so interesting.
And he backed it up, though.
Yeah, he did back it up.
Sacks.
Yeah, he did back it up. But that was really interesting.
Seems like the Raiders players are all in on Antonio Pierce, too.
Yeah. Huge players coach. He got the locker room looking alive again, which is really good to see.
Something he did this week was he let all the practice squad players dress and stand on the sideline because he said he doesn't believe they should just have to practice and grind their ass off all week and just have to sit on the couch and watch the game at their house, which I actually respect. Shout out Antonio Pierce for that. But looking at one of the biggest stories of the week, Josh Dobbs, who newest Viking, he guided the Vikings to a win over the Falcons. Can Josh Dobbs lead them to the playoffs after his 2-touchdown performance against the Falcons?
I think absolutely not, but I still love Josh Dobbs. I was telling you this earlier. I really want to get a Josh Dobbs jersey, just because he's so fun to watch. He's just a weird quarterback, kind of. His arm isn't great. He's just got good football IQ, and he can run it a little bit. But he kind of pulled the little Baker Mayfield there, learned the playbook in a day.
Yeah.
And then came out there and got the win.
And he is an astrophysicist.
Yeah, he is literally a rocket scientist, which definitely helps in terms of the intelligence side.
Vikings right now 7th in playoff picture. Below them, Commanders, Falcons, Buccaneers,
Who's first?
Packers, Rams. Who's taking their spot?
I think
I like the Commanders and I like the Falcons.
Depending on Stafford's health, the Rams could take it, but the fact they just signed Wentz does not make me feel good about that.
Yeah, they are 2 games back at 3-6.
I think the Commanders, Bucks, and Falcons are all good enough.
And the Packers think they're on the rise. I don't know.
There's
a few cheeseheads in this area that kind of just get my temper going. So
I think the Vikings have a chance at it, and I kind of feel like the Josh Dobbs thing was just kind of like the Baker Mayfield thing where it works the first time for some reason. It's just that magic of not knowing what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
And then after that, it kind of goes south. I hope not. I would like to see the Vikings make it, especially if Josh Dobbs is the starter
it's
there.
It's just in a very thin drop-off after.
Their schedule's not bad, though. Saints, Broncos, Bears, Raiders. Bengals is tough. Lions is tough.
End of season's tough, but they got a nice 4 games.
Their last 4
coming up.
their last 4 games is tough.
They play the Lions twice in their last 3 games. That could hurt, but Yeah, I hope they make it. I don't think it'll happen, but I think they'll stay in the race for a pretty long time.
Now we're going to look at one of the 4 o'clock slated games. The Eagles beat the Cowboys in a huge NFC East matchup. This did shape up to be an amazing game. Eagles did pull it out just in the end. Obviously, that's what we expected. They kind of owned the Cowboys these past 2-3 years since the Eagles have started to get good again. But Cowboys, where do you think the Cowboys are at right now?
They've been where they've been for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
One step
30
away.
years, I'd say.
It's always one step away, one throw away, one run away, 1 yard away. Sorry, I just hate the Cowboys. I don't know why in the world he would have thrown that pass. Why would he make his break on the 2-yard line is my biggest question. Unless he thought a guy was coming across for a lateral. It's normal Cowboys stuff. You're always so close. You just keep your fans intrigued. It's kind of like the Steelers, but I think we have different methods of claim. The Cowboys are always going to be. They're going to win the easy games. We're going to lose the easy games, but they're just. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're always a first-round exit in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I said pretty much the same thing a week or 2 ago, but it's just make the playoffs, go out first round, reload, do it again. That's kind of it.
Yeah. And probably the hottest team in football right now, the Bengals have won 4 straight in a Sunday night win against the Bills. The Bills are looking very, very rough right now, but on the Bengals standpoint, they're very hot. They're probably going to be very unstoppable the next few games, and it sucks that they have to get through a slow start every year because if they could maybe lock up that 1 seed one year, but whatever. But what are your thoughts on the Bills right now? I mean, they're 5-4 in not a great situation. Josh Allen hasn't looked great this year. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the Bills?
This is kind of like the Dolphins in the big games. I don't know where the problem's at because the Bills. I think the key is probably that they lean too much on that Allen and Diggs connection. I would probably try and get James Cook more involved early, and hopefully kind of establish him as a weapon in the game every week. But other than that, I mean, Matt Milano going out hurts. That's a big
that
injury
hurt
for
them very bad.
But yeah, I think they kind of just need to gain some momentum. I don't know what their future schedule looks like, but I'm not panicking on them yet. Yeah, they have Broncos this week. Then they play the Jets.
We know how the Broncos roll against the top dog.
After that, though, Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, Chargers.
Yeah, the Bills play the Bills.
Cowboys. Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers. The Bills do not play the Bills. Their schedule is kind of tough. After these next 2 weeks, it gets tough.
It'd be crazy if they could not sneak in with Josh Allen.
That would be
right now, the AFC North has all 4 teams locked in the playoffs for now, which I think is pretty cool. And I think it could maybe happen.
There's a chance.
The Bills would have to, but the Bills, as you've said, if they could lose 3 out of that 4 those games, that's already 7 losses. So it should be interesting to see.
I could see it happening.
I'm kind of in fear right now. The Bengals look hot. They look dangerous. They look back to the team they've been the past 2 years.
I think Ravens and Steelers are locks. Ravens and Bengals are locks. Sorry. I think it's going to come down to the Browns or Steelers. This game, this coming weekend against the Browns and Steelers in Cleveland is going to be a huge game. I know you might be going to that, so you have to let us know how the environment is.
Most of my family's heading up for the game. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of tears coming down from that game.
I don't need to be at that stadium. I don't need to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the AFC North, the fact that the Bengals are currently the 7th seed and they're the hottest team, that's good news for the AFC North because that'll give them the best chance at getting all 4 teams in there.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think 2 AFC North teams for sure, and then I think it's gonna be the bottom 2 teams in the AFC North, either the Bills or Dolphins, whatever one's second in that division, and then the Chargers, if they can sneak their way up. I know their schedule's a little interesting, but a lot of teams I seen in I think it was Pro Football Focus, they're ranked like 8th. Someone had them ranked super high. I was looking at it.
The issue there is Pro Football Focus doesn't account for the coach.
Yeah, true.
I forgot Brandon Staley's out there.
Not a good coach. Now we're gonna move on to big college football games this week. record from last week. Geno and Sawyer went 5-5, and I went to a little 2-5. Not great for me. I tried to pick 2 upsets. I missed out on Kansas State and Oklahoma State. But this week we're going to start off with Ole Miss at Georgia. For me, my pick, I'm going to take Georgia in this one. They are just dominant. I feel like this game I think Ole Miss could keep it close. I think they're a little underrated at first, but I think Georgia will pull away and win by like double digits, 2 touchdowns.
This one's purely a gut pick for me, but I'm taking Ole Miss. I just don't think. I mean, you said Georgia's been dominant. Record-wise, they have been, but they're not beating these great teams by a crazy amount. So I definitely think Ole Miss can hang in it and give themselves a chance. For me, Georgia doesn't feel dominant enough to go wire to wire as number 1.
This game kind of scares me because Ole Miss is kind of like a high offensive power team. Game is in Athens, though, so that's kind of why I like Georgia in this one. I do think this is definitely a one-score game, but I have Georgia coming out on top.
We're going to look at some Pac-12 action. Utah plays at Washington. I think this is kind of a gimme. I'm going to take Washington easy. Utah does not have Cam Rising again, and Washington will just score all over them.
Yeah, Utah got crushed by an Oregon team that lost to Washington. They also barely beat a USC team that can't stop a nosebleed. They had the low points during that 6-game stretch against USC.
Had a terrible nosebleed last night. Kept me up.
That's tough.
Picked the scab and it just started gushing.
USC still couldn't stop it. But, give me Washington pretty easily in that one.
Yeah, game's in Seattle. Take Washington by a mile. Take the over.
We're going to stay in the Pac-12. USC at Oregon. This is a crazy pick from you guys. I have no idea what this is.
Dude, this is a great pick by Sawyer. Great
phenomenal
pick.
Oregon is one of the best teams
They're
in the
due
country.
for a win.
They
USC
are.
is due for
Exactly.
a win, and that's why I'm taking it. They're due for a win, and they're going to get
They are, but not in Eugene. I'm sorry.
The offense is too good for them to not get a signature win, and they just fired the defensive coordinator.
Yes, they are winning. No doubt about it.
I could see it happening, but I
got USC by double scores,
That's
double
crazy.
digits.
I don't know if it'll be double digits, but I feel really confident about this one.
They are playing in Eugene, Oregon, one of the toughest places to play. Bo Nix is a dog. All of Oregon's team is dogs. If they didn't lose to Washington, they should be in the playoffs right now.
Yeah,
Wait,
Colorado
is the Pac-
once said, Little Stadium.
Did the Pac-12, did they get rid of divisions? Are they just taking the top 2 teams, kind of like the Big 12, or is it still North and South?
I think it's top.
I think it's top 2.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
We're going to move back to the SEC. Tennessee plays at Missouri.
I don't like this. Why are we all taking this?
Missouri
This is such a toss-up game, too.
I'm going to take Missouri. They're coming off a tough loss. They're a really good team. They need to keep those 2 losses, just that 2 losses, to try and stay in the lower New Year's 6 game. But I feel like Tennessee's kind of overrated. I said Joe Milton was a dog before the season. He's absolutely garbage. He's not very accurate, but, I mean, give me Mizzou. It's at Mizzou, so that's my reasoning.
Yeah, I have written down here Joe Milton has been but I feel like it's closer to he's been bad. He doesn't give me the look of a guy who's going to lead his team to a big win on the road. Tennessee's last couple SEC wins have been pretty sketchy. I can't remember who they played. They played UConn last week.
They played UConn.
I don't know why they scheduled that, but
UConn's an independent. They need to fill out the schedule.
Well, yeah, but Tennessee doesn't need UConn. But anyway, the last couple SEC wins have not been convincing. I think Missouri has this by 20, honestly.
Yeah, I don't like how we're all going to take Mizzou. I want to take Tennessee just so we can get some variety, but I'm going to take Mizzou. Tennessee's got Georgia next week. I think they're kind of looking ahead to the big one, and I think Mizzou's going to win this one. I don't get how Tennessee's ranked 13th in the country right now. They don't have one good win on this schedule that I'm looking at right now. A&M's an alright win. They won by 7, and then they barely beat Kentucky. So give me Mizzou.
Moving on to a top 10 matchup this week, Michigan at Penn State. I really want to take Penn State in this, but I can't. Again, talked about it when Penn State played Ohio State. Drew Allar's just too young for this game. Michigan's an insane team. I feel like their defense is just going to swarm all over him. But I'm excited to see this game. I feel like Penn State could put up a fight, but Penn State losing a game to Ohio State like that, I feel like they have to win this big game. But I'm just going to take Michigan. It's an easy pick.
I'm so tempted to switch right now.
I was very tempted to.
I have Michigan written down purely because Penn State just always has the classic 10-2 season.
Yeah.
Where they lose to Michigan, they lose to Ohio State. But I don't know. Michigan's got some stuff going on. They might not be fully locked in.
This is their first real game, too.
This is their first real game. They're on the road.
That's actually a good point.
I'm going to change to Penn State. I'm going to take Penn State.
Michigan has played no one.
I'll just build my lead. Penn State on ESPN right now is actually favored 50.4% compared to Michigan's 49.6%.
That actually makes me want to move back because ESPN projections suck. But I'm gonna take Penn State. I'm very scared right now, but
the best team Michigan has played all year is Rutgers.
Yeah, Michigan has not seen any sort of test.
They've not seen any type of close game either.
And now they're going on the road at Penn State. Obviously, like you said, Drew Aller is.
It's going to be loud there too.
They need to figure out the play calling. I remember when Penn State played Ohio State, the play calling for Drew Aller was terrible. They kind of set him up for failure. Hopefully, they figured that out.
I think Michigan's DBs are just too good. In my opinion, I think that's going to be the X factor.
I'm hoping Michigan's a little distracted. That's my hope. I don't feel good about this pick. I feel like someone had to take Penn State.
I don't think the players are going to be distracted. I think the rivalry's still going to be there. Let's just throw out hate to Fox real quick. Fox claimed this game early before the season to be their big noon kickoff.
Could have been a whiteout.
This should have been a whiteout game. No doubt about it. I hate you, Fox. I just had to state that real
quick. At least
quick.
Gus Johnson will be calling you.
Yeah.
The last Penn State-Michigan whiteout is like my favorite.
Yeah.
I almost told Drew this, but that pre-snap timeout, like before the game even starts,
it's one of
my favorite college football videos.
Yeah, it's one of the best moments in college football. So, with all that being said, I hate Penn State too much to ever pick them. So, give me Michigan. I think their Michigan defense is going to win this game for them.
Now we're going to move on to our upset pick this week. For me, my upset pick is Georgia Tech over Clemson. Clemson is Clemson is favored by minus 14.5. Georgia Tech has beat pretty decent teams this year. They're on the come up. Don't hate on Georgia Tech. They've sucked for so long these past 10 years, and I think they can have a chance to win this year against Clemson.
I'm double dipping on this one in a game we already picked, but like I said, I just have a gut feeling about Ole Miss this week. Kind of sneaking in there in upset range, at least for our upset picks. We go 10-point underdogs only. Ole Miss is 10.5, so just getting in there. But I think Ole Miss has a shot, and I'm going to take them on the road against Georgia. Yeah,
there was a lot of good games. Obviously, our USC pick actually qualified as they are somehow... Oregon's a 15-point favorite. Duke, North Carolina's a 14.5-point favorite. LSU over Florida's a 14-point favorite. There was a lot of actual games picked through this week. Last week was a struggler for me. I was down to almost UTEP, which I don't really want to get into. We don't got the time.
Yeah, but then you ended up taking BYU?
I think, and that pick was terrible. There was no good picks last week, honestly. It was rough. Arizona's actually a 10-point favorite at Colorado. There's a lot of interesting ones on here.
Hold on. Colorado?
Yeah. What did I say?
Okay.
Colorado? What did I say?
Colorado.
I'm not trying to get another Syracuse situation.
Colorado.
It's Colorado.
Yeah, what did I say?
Colorado.
All right, it's Oregon.
It's Oregon.
Oregon.
My pick for this one is, I don't know why, because I hate them, but I'm going to take WVU, Country Roads. At Oklahoma.
Hold on.
Bro.
You hate Penn State too much to pick them, but you don't hate West
Virginia. You're taking
enough?
West Virginia over Oklahoma in a night game at Sooner Stadium.
It's Sooner Stadium. I don't...
What's going on with you?
I like this pick. We have to... Dude, you have to look at my picks. I'm the best at picking college football games, so... one to look out for is I think Florida can upset LSU. And is Riley Leonard player or is he out for the year?
I don't know his status right now. I'd be surprised if he plays. And
I think if he plays, they'll change the line.
If he plays, he'll be like 50% at best.
Yeah.
But also, you are the best at picking college football so far.
But no one's got an upset pick, right? No one's got an upset pick, right?
I almost got mine right?
I mean, you had Missouri.
You had a shot. Yours wasn't.
Indiana
it was
terrible.
Borderline.
Yeah, Indiana was a decent one over Penn State.
I think you've probably had like the closest ones maybe, but we all suck at these.
Whatever.
We'll get him one day.
I want to change so bad right now. I need a win.
I think this Georgia Tech pick's looking pretty good for me. But we're going to move on to our college football top 5. Obviously, the playoff rankings, like the college football playoff rankings, are out. Ohio State's 1, Georgia's 2, Michigan's 3, and Florida State's 4 in those. But for my rankings, I'm going to have Georgia at 1. They got a good win against Mizzou, and they're easily dominant. I'm going to put Ohio State at 2 just because of their resume. They haven't played teams that great, but, I mean, they have a good resume. Michigan, they haven't played anyone, but they have blown out teams. Washington, they're undefeated. I feel like they deserve it more than Florida State because they have won by bigger margins against better teams.
Mine is almost exactly the same. It also has not changed since last week for the second week in a row because none of these teams will lose. So number 1 is Georgia, number 2 is Michigan, number 3 is OSU, 4 Washington, 5 Florida State. Obviously, some potential for shakeup. If I get my picks right, 1 and 2 go down, which now that I say it, that's a stupid thing for me to pick.
Yeah.
But we'll go with it. Hopefully I see some movement next week.
Yeah. Mine's basically Sawyer's. Other than I have Michigan at number 1. I have Georgia moving up a spot to 2, Ohio State moving down a spot to 3, and Washington and Florida State rounding up 4 and 5. Nothing really changes here. I think those are the best teams in the country, so it should be how it is.
We're going to move on to an NBA recap. Looking at one of the big things, Cam Thomas is going off so far. In my opinion, he's definitely a beast. He's a good pure scorer, but I think he needs to learn how to pass the ball. He shot 33 shots. The one night he dropped 43 points, so I think he needs to just chill on that a little bit. But other than that, he's a beast. Maybe if he could learn how to do that, he could be a more efficient player.
I was talking to you and our friend Jacob about this yesterday.
We just shouted out Jacob.
Jacob will not be watching. I'd be surprised if he ever sees this. But I was saying this the other day. Cam Thomas's confidence is insane. He took a shot where he
was facing the bench.
He jump stopped. His feet were pointing directly away from the basket. Then he jumps into a shot and spins midair to square his shoulders and made the shot, which is insane. Yeah. He should not be taking that shot under any circumstances, but he did, and it worked. So right now, I think he's one of the best scorers in the game. Probably the most confident player in the game, except for maybe Dylan Brooks, which is a separate conversation.
Hey.
But I mean, I'm happy to see him doing well. Happy to see him actually getting consistent minutes and starts. That was frustrating last year to see him drop 30 and then get benched for a whole game. I just didn't get that. But it's cool to see him having some success.
Yeah, you guys kind of hit it all pretty hard, straight on. I want to give a little shout out to Lonnie Walker as a possible 6th man of the year. Has 5 games in a row with like 15 points plus. So just want to give a little shout out there to Lonnie Walker.
Okay.
Draft bust.
Draft bust. He was picked like 16th.
There's so many high.
That's pretty
There's
high.
so many worse dudes that have been picked above that no one knows where they are.
No one said bigger draft bust, but like,
all right,
pretty high.
We're gonna move on to the LA Lakers. LeBron has been stated to say that he thinks the Lakers are the NBA's Pittsburgh Steelers, which I guess I can agree with. They were like the Lakers were good a while ago, and Lakers won in 2020. Steelers probably should have won in 2020, but there was a greatest team of all time came to stop them in the wild card round. But it's besides the point.
Stay away from that.
All right. I'll just say Marquise Pouncey's the greatest center of all time. He's really good at snapping the ball.
Hey, can we get to the fact,
especially in high pressure situations?
All right. Can we just give him some credit? I like to give a shout out. He's lost like 100 pounds. I don't know if anyone's seen him
good
recently.
for him, man.
But
Good for him. He shouldn't be playing center anymore.
Yeah.
Joe Thomas did the same thing. With
I don't
Thomas
know how an NBA team can say that comment. I don't know what LeBron thinks he is right now. They've dropped 3 in a row, and that statement was just so like, how does that even make sense that we're the Steelers of the NBA?
I feel like it's fair.
I mean, I would argue the Lakers have been better than the Steelers.
Dude, they're 3-5. They've dropped.
The Lakers won a championship though.
Yeah, the Lakers won a championship recently.
2, 3. The bubble, bro. We don't have to get into
Bro, the
that.
bubble was one of the hardest
The
situations.
bubble does not count.
You know how hard that is to win a championship in that situation? You're just by yourself with no family.
Everybody has the same circumstances. It's
Exactly.
just whoever's got the perseverance to pull through. And we know Braun's got
Steeler
that.
bias is crazy right now.
This should not have even been on the script.
Yeah, I don't know why this
Why are we talking
I was
about
thinking
this?
about skipping over this.
You
We're
should've.
just gonna move on. Stay with the team in the Western Conference. The Mavs are out to a great start. Luka and Kyrie are starting to gel. It's looking great. Obviously, unlike another guy who got traded just pretty recently, but Luka and Kyrie, both generational talents. It's great to see that they are able to gel together.
Yeah, I think the Mavs did a really good job. I think Grant Williams is a huge glue guy that team's been kind of missing at that power forward position. So I think that's been a really good pickup for them.
Yeah, this was a little surprising of a start for me. I'm still not fully sold on the Mavs. I just checked. We all had them 7th or 8th in our Western Conference standings. So I think nobody really saw this coming, especially after last season. I think they were definitely a negative record. I think it was like 5-13 with Luka and Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like Jason Kidd either. I still believe he sucks. We'll see, but
Don't hate.
Personally, I don't think this is going to get sustained, but
Don't hate.
good for them so far.
A team with a lot of star power, the Suns, are struggling to begin the season. They're off to just give me a moment, 4-4 start. They got a overtime win against the Bulls, which should not be going to overtime.
Well, Beal just debuted last night, I believe.
Really?
That was
Booker's
his first
still out.
game, yeah.
Yeah, so they got Booker out. They just got Beal back. Obviously, they have KD, but they'll get it together. They have too many guys on that team.
I think obviously it shows one injury hurts this team crazy with the lack of depth they have on this team. So obviously the key for the Suns is staying healthy as long as they can.
Yeah, I mean, I will say real quick, we say they'll get it together. They got too much talent. It wouldn't be the first KD-led team to kind of collapse with all that talent.
Yeah.
We're going to look at something similar to that. The Clippers are 0-2 with James Harden. As James Harden, this dude is just a cancer to every team he plays for. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what the problem is. You got like Kawhi, PG, James Harden, PJ Tucker. I don't know why I added PJ Tucker in. I'm sorry.
Where is Russ? Where is Russ? Where is Russ?
I meant to say Russ, not PJ Tucker. I meant to say Russ.
I think we need you're booted for a week.
No, I meant to say Russ.
Not mentioning
man.
the GOAT. Not the GOAT.
I'm sorry.
The GOAT of my era.
James Harden is definitely a cancer to a team. I don't know what's going on with them, but that's besides the point. That's for Ty Lue to figure out.
I think we can't judge too much off 2 games right now, but I think it's obviously going to take them a while to kind of get going. It's a different style they got to play with now.
They got a hard schedule, though. Mavericks next game. Grizzlies is easy. Nuggets.
Group play. Bunch of group play stuff. Group play still is counting to your record, correct?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with half these NBA players. I don't fully understand anything that's going on.
It might be the dumbest thing ever. And the courts just make it worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, me and Drew were at the Pacers-Cavs in-season tournament game, and that court is horrendous.
I got a headache after that.
It was bad.
Yeah. So college basketball started this past Monday. We went to this game, Butler versus Eastern Michigan. Butler handled business, won by 39 points. Looks like they have a decent amount of offense on their team, but again, this is against the MAC school that won 8 games last year.
And lost their best player.
But we'll see how Butler does in Big East play, but they definitely looked good against Eastern Michigan.
I will say they looked good for a half.
It was a typical
second
first
half.
game.
The second half was good.
The first half was sketchy. We went into halftime up, I think, 8.
And it was few lead changes going back and forth in the first half.
And then second half, we dropped a 60 piece. So I think we kind of Thad made some adjustments. He's a great coach for a reason, so he turned us up in the second half. Posh Alexander obviously is kind of the star of the team. His intensity was really helpful. If he keeps that throughout the season, which I'm sure he will, given his history, that should be huge for us. Just having that kind of scrappy hustle guy out there, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, good convincing win to start the season.
I'd prefer to kind of I'd like to see Landon take the next step as trying to be a little bit more offensive. I think he's too passive right now. I don't know why you guys are both
He's not great.
I don't want to say too much because I have of class with him.
He has no idea who I am,
But
so he's not great.
Landon, I was not very impressed by Landon.
He didn't try and do anything. I don't think he did one thing wrong or one thing right.
Well, he had a turnover, I think, but
I think he was playing a little too.
It didn't look like he knew what he was doing for a second.
I think he's still learning the offense or something.
I don't think it's learning the
There was a
offense. I think
reason-
he needs to get out of that short sleeve shirt that goes below his elbows. That thing is soggy as can be.
I think there's a
Did
reason.
you see Jalen Thomas in his long sleeves?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
he always rocks that
There
though.
must
Jalen
have-
Thomas, I don't think he looked. He somehow led the teams in rebounding, and I think he got like 5 rebounds ripped away from him.
We need a big.
Our centers.
Andre
are bad.
Screen.
No,
Andre,
Screen.
buy stock. Andre Screen.
I'm buying stock in Connor Turnbull, but Thad isn't because he only played like 8 minutes.
He barely played him in the second half. He got like
and
the crap minutes.
He barely played, and he still hit 2 threes and had a reverse dunk.
Dude, and he still airballed a 3 in the first half.
I don't care. He's one of our best players. He should start.
I don't know about that. I don't know why he was benched for most of the second half. I think the biggest takeaway from this one is Pierre looked really good. I think he's kind of like, when we need a bucket, you got to go to him. Someone explained to me how Telford had, I think, 18. I don't know how.
Well, he's not bad.
I think he just finds himself around the rim where his muscle kind of just takes over.
He drew 7 fouls, so that
Yeah.
helps.
And I saw Butler was like, I think, last in the Big East in attempted free throws per
Probably.
game. So hopefully him will contribute to getting more looks at the line.
Yeah, I will say a little insider info for Connor about why he might not be getting minutes. He did come to class in a boot like a month ago.
Yeah, I remember
So
that. Yeah,
it's possible maybe a little injury management.
that was
going on.
really weird. It was just one. It was the day after the first practice. He showed up with a boot on.
It was literally like
and I've never seen it again.
1 or 2 classes he had a boot. So I don't know if it's a nagging issue or what's going on, but it's possible that's why he didn't play much.
Seems like your opinion on Pierre Brooks changed.
Yeah, someone was hating on Pierre Brooks
Dude,
after the blue-white scrimmage.
I went to the blue-white scrimmage. He was terrible. I don't know if Buddy had a late night, but he was terrible.
He does go back to Michigan a lot. I
Does
follow him on Insta. He's always posting like,
Really?
"Oh, back home."
Yeah.
Maybe
Very
he had a long
interesting.
flight.
Big upset in the first game. Number 4 ranked Michigan State fell to the Dukes of James Madison. I think Michigan State will be fine. You talked about it with me. They could not just shoot. They literally just couldn't shoot the ball against them.
They
Yeah,
were like,
Michigan
what,
State-
1 of 24?
Michigan State 1 for 20 from 3,
Yeah, it was
and then
bad.
63% from the free throw line as well. And then I looked into it. I'll be honest, I had no clue if James Madison was good or not, even though they're literally like 2 hours from my house at home. But they had 22 wins last season. They bring back 7 players, and they're preseason number 1 in the Sun Belt. So this is potentially a tournament team. Still doesn't excuse Michigan State losing at home to them in the first game, especially with how much experience Michigan State has on their roster.
Yeah.
But like Drew said, I talked about this. I think Michigan State will be completely fine. This is 1 for 20 from 3 is never going to happen again this season for them. That's kind of that'll happen to a team once a year. They'll probably lose that game.
Yeah.
For Michigan State, it happened to be a rough one.
I think Michigan State is definitely going to wake up for sure. I kind of fear for Duke. Izzo definitely woke this team up after this game in the locker room
Why you fear for Duke?
because I think Michigan State's going to beat them.
Oh, okay, we're talking.
I'm saying, like,
Okay.
Izzo's going to fire them up so much that
Okay.
they're going to have to respond in a way. James Madison, they were just slinging it. They were shooting everything.
And now we're going to stay with college basketball. We're going to move to some picks. This Friday, tomorrow, as we're recording this, Arizona plays at number 2 Duke. For me, I'm going to take Duke in this one. No reasoning behind it because I don't know college basketball, but I think Duke will just outmatch them. But, yeah.
As the Duke fan, I'm going to take Arizona, which I know Geno's making a crazy face at me. Probably didn't see that coming, but
Caleb Love gets his
Caleb
redemption.
Love is going to suck. I'm not worried about Caleb Love. I'm worried about Omar Ballo, if I said that right.
Lack of,
The key for Duke, the one weakness they have, is they don't have a true center. It looks like, based off the starting lineup in the first game, they played Dartmouth, I think.
Wow.
They started 3 guards. Jeremy Roach was playing small forward with Proctor and McCain in the backcourt. Mark Mitchell was out, so that won't happen again. But regardless, Kyle Filipowski is the 5 right now, which offensively great, no problem. He's a stretch big. First team All-American preseason. That's fine. Defensively, he's not that good. More importantly, he's not a rim protector. Last year, Derek Lively was the rim protector, lob threat, all that. Christian Reeves needs to be starting. John Shire does not realize that, so he's going to run out Filipowski at the 5. Omar Ballo is going to dominate because he's super physical. He's a great inside scorer. It's not going to go well, but hopefully that wakes Shire up, sticks my boy Christian Reeves in the lineup. We'll be fine after that. But Arizona is going to surprise a lot of people with a non-conference win at Duke, which is rare.
I'm going to take Duke in this one at home. No really explanation around it. I think they're just a better team. We're going to move over to Tuesday. In the Big East, we have Marquette traveling to Champaign, Illinois. I like Marquette in this one. I think it's going to be a really good game to watch.
Marquette is going to win this one pretty easily.
Good analysis. I got Marquette in this one as well. I do like Illinois this year. They have a lot of good pieces, but they need time to put them together. They got some new guys coming in, so I don't think they'll be fully gelled yet. And Marquette obviously has Tyler Kolek to lean on, so they can just kind of run their offense through him until they figure out their own team. So I think Marquette takes this pretty easily. Then also on Tuesday, we got the Champions Classic. So we'll start with Duke and Michigan State, number 2 versus number 4, although that might not hold up after Michigan State's loss. But in this one, I'm taking Duke. I think this is obviously going to be a battle of the bounce backs if Duke loses. But I think Duke will be ready. Michigan State doesn't have as dominant of a big as Omar Ballo. And like I said, hopefully Shire will realize that Reeves needs to be starting and they need some inside defense. So I'll take Duke in this one.
I'm taking Michigan State. They're going to be pissed that they lost to James Madison, and they're going to want to show people that they're actually good and be able to beat Duke. So I'm taking Michigan State.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm also going to go with Michigan State. I think they're kind of just fired up from their loss earlier to James Madison. So give me them in this game.
Real quick, the key is Michigan State's next game is not against Duke. Michigan State's next game
still going to be
is against the powerhouse Southern Indiana Screaming Eagles. So they're going to get the wrath of Izzo, and then Duke's going to come back and put them back down.
I still think they'll be comfortably.
No, they'll lose the Southern Indiana.
Due to I have class soon, so we're gonna try and speed this up. And Sawyer's just going on rants as
let me rant
I'm
about
on
Duke.
risk of missing class. We have Kentucky versus Kansas. This game is actually really hard for me to pick because I don't think Kansas is deserving of the number 1 spot right now. And Kentucky does have 2 Pittsburgh guys in their lineup, Trey Mitchell and Adu Thiero. So it's kind of like giving me some, I kind of want to pick them. But I'm going to take Kansas. I think this game's going to be closer than people are saying.
I'm going to take Kentucky. Just shout out Sterling. I know you're a Kentucky fan, so I'll just take Kentucky just for you.
This game is not going to be close. Kansas by 20. I don't like Kansas that much either. Yeah, sorry, Sterling, but Kansas by 20. I don't like them that much either, but Kentucky's so inexperienced. Kansas has so much experience. First game is not going to go well.
Now we're just going to move on to second to last segment of the show, predict NFL games. Trying to go fast here, but first game, I don't want any explanation from you guys on this. Panthers-Bears, I'm going to take the Panthers. I have no explanation. Terrible game, not going to be watching.
Bears.
Bears.
Okay.
Bears. I think
Fields
is out.
Fields is out. Tyson Bagent for the win.
And Panthers for sure. Colts at Patriots. Again, Sawyer with a terrible pick. I'm going to take the Colts. They drop 20 points every game. Patriots defense sucks in general. Colts might drop 40.
I have the Colts in this one too. Kind of same reason. I think the Colts are kind of a sneaky team.
I
like
Patriots. Them. I don't care about the Colts. Patriots in 4th.
When we end the Packers at Steelers, I'm actually changing my pick to the Packers. Don't let the Packers get hot. I feel like
we just made fun of them for that earlier.
I just feel like they're gonna get a big win against the Steelers this week.
This feels like a grind of a game.
Drew has never picked the Steelers.
Really?
Other than the first week, he took us against the Rams. But the last 2 weeks, he's not taken.
But that's
now
fair.
It's 3. Now it's 3, though.
This feels like one of those sloppy Steelers games where nothing goes right for anyone.
Grind it out, and we win.
The Steelers are going to take it eventually.
Steelers win this one. Usual type win. I'm saying about 20 to maybe 14. Steelers win.
Sounds about right.
Moving on, staying in the AFC North, Texans at Bengals. I think I'm going to take the Bengals easy in this one. I think C.J. Stroud will have a really good game still, but the Bengals are starting to get hot, and they're unstoppable when that happens.
Somebody has to beat the Bengals. I've been picking the Texans pretty well this season, except last week. Other than that, I think I've been getting them right. And I believe in the Texans this week. Stroud's hot. Texans are hot. Somebody's got to slow down the Bengals. It's going to be them.
I think this game is one of those games. Both teams going to have 400 yards on offense. I think this game's going to be in the 30s. But as you know, if anyone realized I was 13-1 last week, I was pretty spot on.
We do have to give you props.
Spot on with the picks.
And 5 for 5 in college.
So I was hot last week. It's going to go down the drain this week. But I'm going to go with the Bengals. Game's in Cincinnati. They're hot. I do admit they're probably going to hit a bad loss sooner or later, but I like the Bengals in this one.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move over to basically just average game. Total mid game if you look at it. Titans at Buccaneers. I like Titans right now. Will Levis moving forward as team starting quarterback. I like Titans winning this one.
I'm going to take the Bucs. They have way too good of a team to be 3-5. Tough loss last week. I think they kind of went easy against the Titans.
Suddenly the Baker hater thinks Bucs have a good team.
Yeah, they have good receivers, a pretty good running back, good defense. Baker sucks though. Screw that guy.
Okay, well I'll take the Titans. I kind of want it. Actually, I'm taking the Bucs now just because you said Baker sucks.
Okay.
I was gonna take the Titans just because of Will Levis, but they did trade some pieces away, so they're looking a little weak on defense now. Give me the Bucs.
We're gonna go back to the AFC North. Browns play at Baltimore this week. This is gonna be a tough game for the Browns. I'm gonna take the Ravens, but I think the Browns keep this one close for maybe the first 3 quarters, and then the Ravens just pull away in the fourth. But I hope the Browns do put up a fight here because the Ravens have destroyed the Lions, destroyed the Seahawks, who are pretty decent teams. And the Browns did lose the Seahawks, so I don't know what's going to happen. It is an AFC North matchup, so it is going to be scrappy.
Oh, yeah, we have this as a Ravens sweep across the board, but it's going to be closer than that. Browns lost, I think, 28-3 to the Ravens earlier this season with DTR starting, which is already better than the Lions and Seahawks did with their starters. So I think they put up a good fight. It'll be close. Ravens pull it out, but
I think
Browns won't have anything to be embarrassed about.
I think we've only won in Baltimore like once these past couple years. So.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I got Ravens 2010.
I respect that. That's actually a decent score.
Yeah, that's fair.
We're going to move down south to Jacksonville. The 49ers come off their bye and play the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to take the Niners here. They've lost 3 straight. There's no way they lose. This is a tough game for them, but there's no way they lose 4 straight. I feel like they pull this one out. McCaffrey's going to go off, I feel like.
Yeah, this game scares me because the Jaguars have won like 5 straight. So I really hate the fact we have a Niners sweep here. But like Drew said, Niners coming off a bye. I think this is when they finally pull it together, get a win.
Yeah, it looks like Deebo Samuel might be coming back too for the Niners after a bye week. Dropped 3 straight. I like the Niners winning this one. We're now going to move on to another kind of a little bit above average mid game. Saints at Vikings. I'm on the Josh Dobbs train right now. I'm fully on the Josh Dobbs train right now. I like this pick. I'm going to go Vikings.
I'm going to take the Saints. Saints are, I think, a good team. I think the Josh Dobbs train sort of slows down here. I think we'll have a decent game, but Saints have a really good defense, so I think that'll shape up and not well against Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, Geno, I hope you're right, but like I said, I think the Josh Dobbs thing was more of a little one-game magic. Also, looks like Jefferson's not going to be back yet until probably the week after.
He practiced, I believe.
I don't know.
I thought they took him off the IR.
I saw they were going to take it slow. I
Okay.
don't know. We'll see. But regardless, I'm taking the Saints either way. I think Josh Dobbs slows down a little bit. Then we'll move on to Falcons-Cardinals. This game sucks. Give me the Falcons.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. Just give me – I don't know. Kyler Murray's coming back. Game at home. Falcons aren't great. Just give me the Cardinals.
Taylor Heineke, baby. Wins this one. Falcons winning this one. Probably, I like this one I think it's one of the best games. Lions at Chargers. I think it's kind of a toss-up game. I'm kind of liking what the Chargers have been doing lately. They've been moving the ball a little bit better. I don't think the Lions play better teams well, so give me the Chargers in this one.
I'm going to take the Lions. I feel like the Chargers could win this game, but I think the Lions are pretty good, coming off a bye too. So, give me the Lions easy.
I feel like we already have the script for this game. Chargers up 3 in the fourth quarter, have the ball on like their own 30, 4th and 3. Brandon Staley goes for it, doesn't get it. Lions drive down, score, win. Then we got Giants-Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys across the board.
I don't have the script for this game, but it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be bad. Cowboys by 40.
We're going to move on to Commanders at the Seahawks. For me, I'm going to take the Seahawks. They literally lost by 34 points, didn't score a single touchdown, and perfect time to come back. Commanders lost 2 key pieces on their defense, too, so Seahawks might just dominate them in Seattle.
Kenneth Walker should go off without Montez Sweat and Chase Young back there for the Commanders. I think Seahawks win this pretty easily.
The urge to take the Commanders right now.
I thought about it, but I just don't see it.
Give me the Commanders. I'm changing my
Same.
pick. Add some variety. Sam Howell, I think he's a pretty good dual threat guy. I like when he takes it down and runs with it.
Sam Howell's underrated.
They have a lot. They have Bijan and Antonio Gibson. I think the key to beating the Seattle team is kind of just running it a little bit. Get Sam Howell out of the pocket, make him a runner. I think this is the best chance for them.
You want to speed past the Commanders having Bijan?
Oh, wrong dude.
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson. You guys just always gotta hate. Like, I'm stressing about missing my class.
Can't be spreading misinformation out there.
Jets at Raiders. I think it's kind of a toss-up game. I like the Raiders' momentum right now. I'm gonna take them.
I'm also going to take the Raiders. Shout out to Antonio Pierce. The players are all in on him. I think Raiders will win this easy.
I'd like to see Antonio Pierce and the Raiders win, but I'm just looking at the QB matchup here. It's not a good one, but I like Zach Wilson more than Aiden O'Connell right now. So give me the Jets. And then finally, Monday Night Football, absolute barn burner, Bills and Broncos.
Do I do it again?
I know we're all watching. I don't even want to hear that. Bills are going to get back on track here and beat the
Bills.
Broncos.
I think it's
do I do
Bills.
it again?
Bills easily.
I mean, I hope you do. So
No,
I
I'm going to
get
take
a
the
little
Bills.
edge on the record, but
I'm going to take the Bills. Shout out to myself. I did not skip a game this week.
round of applause for you.
I think that happened twice last week. So just want a little shout out for myself. Commanders, please give me this win. Please.
We're going to look last segment of the show. NFL start sits. We're just going to go straight through our starts, all of us. So for me, my first start is Jahmyr Gibbs. They play the Raiders this week. I feel like he could light up their defense. My second start is C.J. Stroud. I feel like he could just go off against the Bengals, but he's the only one that goes off. And last start is Kyler Murray, because why not?
For me, the first one is Michael Pittman Jr. against New England. Patriots benched Jack Jones and J.C. Jackson last week. Now J.C. Jackson is not traveling this week, so they got some major issues at corner.
As you take the Patriots.
Patriots will come through, don't worry. But Michael Pittman might have Sean Wade on him, which is just a disaster.
Don't hate on Sean Wade.
Sean Wade sucks.
He does show.
So give me Michael Pittman Jr. as a start. James Cook is another start for me. He's kind of been looking a little on downswing lately, but the Broncos' defense has just been awful against running backs for fantasy. So I like that matchup. And then Rachaad White had 24 touches last week, and he can rush and receive, works in both game scripts. So he should be a pretty easy start.
Sorry. Someone just collapsed.
We got mayhem in the hallway right now.
My start, I'm going to go with Zach Wilson, Drake London, and we're just going to have 2. I don't know why I have Zach Moss on here, but just keep it as 2 guys.
I am actually starting Zach Moss this week.
You
I have
are?
no other option.
All right, then start Zach Moss.
Yeah,
We're going to support Sawyer's fantasy team right now.
I'm playing Ben Seavey.
Ben
This is a big
Seavey.
matchup.
Hey, sleeper.
Okay.
Ben Seavey pulls out those ugly ones.
He's got 2 guys on buys right now.
Seeing the sits, I'm going to first sit Amari Cooper playing the Ravens. He's going to get locked down. Second sit, Travis Etienne. I feel like this Niners defense is going to be swarming all over the ball, so I'll take that. And then last sit is Jordan Addison. Who the Vikings play again? Hold on.
Vikings.
Saints. Saints have a great defense. He'll get locked down. Josh Dobbs at quarterback too. So that's my sits.
My first sit is a bold one. I got Devontae Adams as a sit. He's been not getting as many targets lately. Aiden O'Connell, like I said, I don't really believe in him. He's not great for a fantasy wide receiver, so sit Devontae. Next, James Conner. It looks like he's going to play this week, but he's probably not 100%, I would guess. They probably want to get him back with Kyler if they can. So him and Kyler might be out of sync as well in the passing game. Look for him to not get many targets, and then a good Falcons defense is going to slow him down as well. And then finally, Zay Flowers is my last sit. He's just playing a great Browns defense. The corners have been locked down. I don't see him doing much this game.
Oh, I'm up. I'm going to sit Deshaun.
Deshaun with the
Deshaun
double.
Watson. Yeah, my spelling might be off right now. I'm just kind of pacing. I also sit Darren Waller. I know probably no one really has the tight end depth to sit him, but I don't like him against the Cowboys. And then
The Commanders legends.
we're gonna sit Bijan. I don't know what's really going up with him right now. What's up with the Falcons offense, but they're kind of staying away from him, and so I'd sit him this week. Kind of bold, but take the risk, sit him.
That will do it for episode 5 of Sports Talk Trio. Again, I'm Drew Pieschalski. I was joined by Sawyer Goldwein and Geno DeFrank, and thank you for watching.